Hello everyone, hopefully an okay editor 357 here, and Wednesday I had the absolute pleasure of seeing the new Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel movie, Spring Song, in theaters. And it's hard to talk about a movie that leaves you genuinely speechless, but I certainly am going to try. This video will be a sort of rant or review of the movie, and while I won't spoil anything for the new movie, I will be mentioning things from the first two Heaven's Feel films as well as the other series, so be warned of that. All that being said, let's begin. After the movie was over, I had to ask myself if I thought this story was better than Unlimited Blade Works, and if it is my favorite. And honestly, I don't know right now. It's been too long since I've watched Unlimited Blade Works that I need to give that a good rewatch and then compare it to the Heaven's Feel trilogy before making my final judgment. But obviously they're both great, and aspects of this new film story are certainly my favorite across the three original Fate stories. First of all, the character of Shiro. I love Shiro so freaking much in the Heaven's Feel story. I like how Shiro's story is told and resolved in Unlimited Blade Works, seeing the manifestation of his flawed ideals and having to confront them head on, but if I'm being honest, I never liked Shiro as a character that much. There's something to be said about being so steadfast in your ideals that you can look a future version of yourself down and basically say that I'm gonna try to be a hero of justice anyways. But I always wanted something more from his character, a deeper conflict that really makes him question himself, and Heaven's Feel gives that to us. He falls in love with Sakura and has to decide for himself whether he should do the thing that will save many other lives and kill her, or prioritize the woman he loves. And while in the second film we see him momentarily decide to spare her, he's once again faced with that question as he deals with a corrupted and power-hungry Sakura. And the answer he reaches and the steps he takes to reach his ideal ending for this story, freaking amazing and more compelling than his character arcs in the other stories. On to other things. Kirei is at his best in this movie too. I always felt like his character arc had anticlimactic resolutions in the other two Fate stories, but this film makes sure to flesh his character out like never before and bring his character development to a new, engaging, and very fitting resolution. And Sakura, it goes without saying she's the main female lead of the trilogy, but this movie really is about her at the end of the day. And this movie does a wonderful job of showing a girl who's known nothing but suffering and hardship finally break, and how she acts once she obtains immense power. Sakura's voice actress did an amazing job portraying the various emotional states of Sakura throughout the film. In her voice, I could hear the sheer joy at finally obtaining the power to fight back against a cruel world that's hurt Sakura for so long. All the voice actors did great jobs, really, but the standout performance goes to Sakura and Ilya, in my opinion. The story itself is that perfect Fate mix of small action scenes and encounters, character building scenes, lore and world building scenes, and then that one show-stopping fight scene that you know everyone is going to be talking about because it's ufotable and they can do no wrong. I seriously didn't know if they were going to be able to top the Saber Altair versus Berserker fight from the last movie, but they certainly did, and the result is one of the most epic and beautiful looking anime fights I've ever seen. It's definitely one of, if not my favorite anime fight scene ever. The animation as a whole for the movie is beautiful as always. Ufotable has this great way of animating these vast wide open spaces for their fights, but they never feel empty or devoid of life. Rather, due to the immense detail and how the environment reacts to the battles happening in the story, they feel like grand stages for these fights of epic nature to happen on. The story also explored some interesting elements of the Fate world, including showing us a bit more about how the Holy Grail Wars started in the first place. It was really interesting, and added to the grand finale feeling of the story. Like it's time to learn everything and then defeat the threat. While this is one of the three main Fate stories from the visual novel, I will say this particular film feels like a grand finale to Ufotable's time with the Fate series as a whole. Almost everything from Unlimited Blade Works and Zero comes back in some way or another, and the result is a 2-hour-long journey to bring you to a beautiful ending and what feels like an end of an era. Unless Ufotable remakes the original Fate Stay Night route, which they should. I will say one thing about the ending, and I liked it. I thought it was a great and beautiful ending to the story being told, but one huge thing was not explained well at all. A crucial part to enjoying the ending to these characters is shown in kind of a montage, but never explained, and then something happens and you're just like, okay, cool, I'm happy, but how? A quick Google search cleared things up, and I get that people who read the visual novel obviously understood what happened, but I think just adding one or two extra scenes to the final few minutes of the movie to properly explain that particular thing would have been good. Didn't come even close to dampening my experience of the movie series as a whole though. And lastly, the soundtrack. I mean, it's a Fate soundtrack, it freaking kills it in every way. The ending song is beautiful, and Aimer can never make a bad song in my opinion. And all the instrumentals used throughout the film fit the various emotional tones for both slower character building scenes and high octave and intense fight sequences. Every track stood out, and it complemented the amazing story being told perfectly. So if this ranty video didn't make it obvious, I love the new Heaven's Feel movie as well as the trilogy as a whole. I still don't know if it's my favorite ufotable Fate story, but it certainly stands on even footing as the rest of them and utilizes some of the characters and plot elements in the best ways out of the three main stories. So to give this movie a rating, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing holding it back is the slightly confusing ending. Personally, like I said, it didn't hinder my enjoyment of the amazing story, but I think having to Google how something in the ending is possible is something that it should be held accountable for. That's it for the video. For anyone who's watching, did you see the new Heaven's Feel movie? And if so, tell me what you thought of it in the comments below, as well as what you thought of this rant/review. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you guys in my next video, which will be tomorrow since it's Non-Stop November.